Right guys, so you've seen the title to the video. We're going to try and do some budget racing with this. Went to my local Nitro club. They recommended a few chassis, but they're quite expensive. I really want to see if we could do this on a budget. This is a Hyper 7.5. It hasn't been run in a very long time. The guy said that I bought it off. I did buy it for £80, roughly about $95. The engine, we'll try and revive it. New tyres, new servos, new radio gear, and a full strip and clean, and we're going to tune the diffs and the suspension. Never done buggy racing before, so this is a first for me. Probably the worst idea, starting off with a rubbish chassis, but we're going to give it a go regardless, and yeah, see if we can give some of the expensive guys a run for their money. So yeah, we're going to get straight into it and get this thing torn apart. So there we go guys, that's what you get for buying cheap RC cars. Loads of strip screws. So we got them all out in the end. We'll have fun getting the threads out of the centre diff, but not the end of the world. Screws are only cheap. Front diff looks okay. It's got a bit of play, but there's no damage to any of the teeth or anything. When I say a bit of play, you can hear it. So we'll be able to shim that up. The rear diff is actually really nice and tight, not too tight, just right. Someone's been doing a bit of DIY here, as you can see. I don't know if that is right, the toe on the arms, but you know, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, everything came apart eventually. Now what I'm going to do is clean up this main plate. I'll clean up these pieces individually. Right guys, so we're moving on to the centre diff. I've got it all apart, obviously apart from the actual centre diff. It feels very loose, so this definitely needs to be looked at and obviously filled up with some oil. Right guys, so I thought I'd just get you back on here after I've rebuilt the front end. Both these bearings on either knuckle, they're absolutely fine. Gone through them, cleaned them and re-greased them. These bearings though, these were absolutely done for. They were in really bad condition. Luckily I had some spare. They are used, but they're in really good condition. I've also shimmed the diff and also filled it with 7,000 fluid. We're going with 7,000 in the front, 7 in the middle, and then 5 in the back. The only reason why I can't put it back together is because, as you can see, I need a new bulkhead, so I'm going to have to order that, and then we can reassemble it. In the meantime, we can obviously crack on with the rear end and get that all situated. The thing is, I need to go through the whole car and then see exactly what I need to order, so we can just do it all in one order, and I don't have to wait around too long. But yeah, it's coming together now, rear end now, then we can sort of reassemble the chassis halfway, order the parts, and go from there. Okay, so we're moving on to the rear section here. I'm going to first check out these bearings here, see what sort of condition they're in. We'll take them apart and re-grease them, and then we'll get into the diff, and then take that out, get some proper diff fluid in it, and yeah, let's get to the time lapse. Just pulled that apart, all really seized up. As you can see, that bearing rocks a lot, and that one's all right, but you can see it's seized. It's properly seized. The front ones were okay, they were just a bit gritty, but I'm gonna have to replace these. I think one bad crash and, you know, the bearing could blow apart, and then, you know, you're out of the race essentially. So I think we're just going to get 4 new ones for the back, and then move on to stripping apart the inside. So let's go. More surprises, guys. Look at that. They are cooked. They should not move whatsoever, and I have no idea what all that is. Fortunately, the teeth are in good condition somehow, so's the pinion gear in the diff, but I need new bearings for this. I can't put this back together like this, and I don't have any more spare. So all I can do for now is basically take it apart, clean it, and wait for bearings, because you need to put the bearings on, then you need to fill the diff. So yeah, we're just going to go that route. Right guys, so today's a new day. We had a load of parts turn up. Obviously got some new bearings for the rear end, so we can obviously get this back together. I did end up going for a brand new pinion gear, because the other one, when I actually took it out and cleaned it out, it was quite chipped and damaged in a few different ways. So I thought it'd be best just to stick a new one in there. It was very inexpensive and it was in stock, so, you know, went for it. Right, so when you're shimming your diffs, just a couple of tips here, guys. You want to get your diff case and diff clean as possible, and you don't want any grease to start off with. You just want to drop your diff in there, put your case on, make sure it's all nice and clean so there's no sort of grit or anything. And then you hold it together, and then just put your finger on the diff, and then just a tiny little bit of play like that is perfect. And if you look down in the diff, you can sort of see how much it's moving. But yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to get the diff reassembled, filled back up with some 5,000 weight fluid. Yes, I know it's not the same brand as I used in the front and middle, but it was all they had in stock. Right, there we go. Rear end's all sorted out. New bearings throughout the entire rear end here. I have rebuilt the shocks as well off camera. I've gone with 350 CST front and rear. If there are any racers out there, do let me know if the setup I'm doing is roughly right. And of course, once we've gotten this case cinched down, the gear mesh has tightened up just a little bit, which is no problem, but it still spins nice and freely. But it's got no free play in and out, side to side. It's just got a tiny little bit of free play on the tooth, which is fine because you always want a little bit of free play in a gear mesh. So yeah, that's the rear end all done. It's not looking brand new, but all the components and everything are brand new, so you know, this is good to go. So we'll move on to reassembling the front end. Diffs all done. I've just got to replace the bulkhead, which I have that, so let's get on to that. Right, that's all done. Not gonna lie, that did actually fight me quite a bit. This pin was bent in here and I didn't realise until I was trying to put it in, so I got that straightened out. Now the next thing we're moving on to is this. When I got the car, it had very sloppy steering. You can see how much these things move in here, and these holes in this rack are actually elongated. So bought a brand new steering rack. This is a 7075 one, which is an upgrade, which is quite nice. There we go. No play whatsoever, so that's much better, and this part's going to be a lot stronger as well because it's 7075. Right guys, there she is. She's all done as a rolling chassis. Just a quick recap on what we've had to do on this episode. We've got some brand new blockade tyres. We've got some 7075 steering rack here that gets rid of all the slop there. We've got a new pinion gear in the back diff because that one was pretty wore out. Got new bearings throughout the rear and new in the front, except for these outer ones and a couple of rebuilded ones, etc. We've got new screws in quite a few locations as well. I've flipped that engine mount round, so that's the correct way round now. But yeah, it looks really nice actually. The suspension's really nice. These shocks actually, they had loads of oil still in them, so they weren't leaking at all. I've got 350 CST in front and rear. If there are any professionals out there, that feel free to give me some tips, because I need all the tips I can get now. But yeah, we're at a really good stopping point here. So next episode we'll be focusing on rebuilding the engine. But yeah, thanks for sticking around guys. If you watched to the end of the video, I really appreciate it. Any comments, thoughts, put them down below. But yeah, see you on the next one.